All right, everybody, we're here at 4:50. It's 4:15, 4:16. We'll get started with Bill Zito. We have, as I said, a recording. It's only about 20 minutes long, and just to keep on we're going to keep on our same time schedule. Ryan, you start at 5 o'clock with Rex Spielman, all right? Yep. So what we'll do is we'll play the video. You can ask questions if you like. I don't know if I'll be able to answer them, but we at least wanted to get some of his insights, some of his opinions. So we're going to play that video. We will then take a break. It's only about a 20-minute video, so we'll have another short break, and then Rick Spielman will be joining us via Zoom at 5 o'clock. So let's get this going here. All right, so again, I will start this off by saying I got the answer right. I am very embarrassed. It's been a long day. He asked me a question that's super easy. I got the answer right. Please don't judge me. We're happy to welcome in Bill Zito. Bill Zito is the general manager of the Florida Panthers, and kind of his background here, we go through it quickly. Spent 7 years with the Blue Jackets and has been there as an assistant general manager. And while he was the assistant general manager of the Blue Jackets, he was also the GM of the Cleveland Monsters, where he led the Monsters to their first ever Calder Cup. He has obviously worked with the Blue Jackets and the Panthers, but before that, and concurrently, he worked as the general manager for Team USA in a couple of the IIHF World Championships. His history and education graduated from Yale, where he played varsity hockey and attended law school at the University of Wisconsin. His background is pretty unique, and at least I would consider it unique, in that he has a background in law, as well as one of the leading hockey agents in the country before moving on to working from the other side of the table. So thank you so much for joining us, Bill. Appreciate to have you in.
Thanks for having me. Wish I could be up there.
Yeah. Well, we're going to kind of make this pretty quick because Bill has quite a bit on his plate going on. Obviously, middle of the season here, getting things balanced out. So just give us a little bit of background on, how you came to your current position. You have a very varied background. So how did that lead you to where you are today?
Well, I mean, the people who know me for my whole life joke that I wanted to be a Harry Dalton. And Mr. Dalton was the general manager of the Milwaukee Brewers in the early 80s. And I was lucky enough to be a bat boy for the Brewers. And Mr. Dalton had gone to Amherst College, and he was, I think he started out as a sports writer and then as a scout, sort of built his baseball management career on scouting. He was actually involved in analytics early on. And in a way, if you will, I don't even know if they had computers at the time. But I can tell you this: in the Brewers had the elaborate shot charts that we used protractors and rulers to shade things where people would hit and stuff all back in the 80s. But Harry Dalton was the guy who kind of took me under his wing, and I always wanted to. I knew then that I wanted to work in management, and I was a below average college athlete, but had the opportunity to learn a little bit under a pretty good coach named Tim Taylor. And I had the passion for the game and knew that I wanted to stay active, and actually combining the law degree was a nice way to do it as an agent. I was able to do that for years and years, and then lucky enough to make the jump and get with Columbus and continue the learning curve, some of the more practical parts of the management side, the day-to-day things, the intricacies, some of the cultural things. And fortunately, I was able to make a home in Florida a little over a year ago. So here we are.
You'll notice that Bill has been nice enough to even meet with us for this short period of time. He's been traveling, so you can tell he's got moving from place to place. He's got a lot going on. So again, thank you so much for spending the time.
You're very welcome.
So since we do have a short period of time, I kind of want to hit just a few things, some from the analytics and some more from the culture side. So let's start with the analytics side. I know that we don't want to get too much into it, but so how do you integrate analytics into your decision making? And that includes from
melding it with that scouts information you get from the money side? How does that all come together into one big pile there?
Well, I have a gift from God, and his name is Sonny Mehta. In my mind, right, the data, it just tells a story about what happened, right? And then may or may not project what might happen or what's likely to happen, or in some instances, what's sure to happen, right? Depending on perhaps the physics of the algorithm. Some people will tell you this is going to happen, right? For us, and I say us because that collaborative effort in our minds is what's necessary to fully utilize the data, because you need to have the communication going both ways. It's not simply, I said this yesterday, don't want a report coming from the data folks or the analytics people. Here's what you need to know, coaches or hockey people. It may work, I guess, but it's not as efficient, or it's certainly not going to optimize the process. It needs to go both ways. Hey, can we do this? Or have you thought of this? Both ways where the people are communicating. And that starts with personalities. It starts with being open-minded. It starts with sharing. It starts with maybe being a little bit vulnerable intellectually, personally. You know, could this uneducated, because they don't have the formal education that I've been blessed to have, person be smarter than me? Smarter in the sense that they've come up with a concept that's really novel and works, and I didn't? Yeah, you know what? Sure they could. But yeah, let me embrace it and work with them and help it so we can achieve. Similarly, can the person who's never played hockey revolutionize our power play because she felt or saw or imagined, based on data even, that this might work? Yeah, for sure, right? So why can't that happen? Well, the only reason that those are all like personal relationship-based issues, right? We're not even at the science, right? This is just people getting in the way, screwing up. And so we're so blessed that we have those kinds of people that enjoy the process and push each other. And we have wonderful fights, great arguments, and but we learn so much every day. And I think, to me, that's I want to use the right words because it's special, and I don't want to do a disservice to our process by using the wrong words. Just that's the magic of our process, I guess.
We talked to Sonny at one of the conferences. He's a great guy.
Yeah, brilliant man, better person.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that, you know, we're at an analytics conference here, and that we don't get too often. It's very easy to get caught up in this, stick your head in the data and the numbers, and really that people skills. And when I teach my classes, that's a big part of it, to realize that the humility to recognize that you don't have all the answers, and those collaborative, that fit, that culture of sharing and learning from others, I think is really crucial. And I love the way that you refer to that there. So, go ahead, please.
And being open-minded to the fact that it doesn't matter in the short term. It doesn't matter like who scored the goal, like who scored the game-winning goal in the Stanley Cup last year.
No idea.
Who won the Stanley Cup?
Let's see. Use that. Sorry, I'm off as this.
All right, I'm out. See you, man. No.
It was Tampa, wasn't it? Or is that 2 years ago?
Okay. Yeah, it was Tampa.
Yeah.
All right. There you go.
Sorry.
Right. It doesn't matter, but you got to win it. Like you win it. Yeah, it's great. But we have to just get off of that. It's all about me. And you get the point.
Sorry, I forgot. 2 years ago, I think is when Columbus was able to knock out Tampa. So that's where my thought process is going in.
3 years ago.
3 years ago. All right.
Yeah.
As the 1 seed. My years get mixed up under COVID, so it's tough to run there. So how does working for the minor leagues differ from the NHL?
Well, minor leagues, your focus has got to be on development, right?
Mhm.
So you need the guys to play. You need, when they make mistakes, you got to live with them longer. You want to keep letting, more reps. You got to get your ice time, and you want to make sure that you're teaching and giving more opportunity to grow and get better. And there's less opportunity for patience at the NHL level, right? We're in a win now. And that's the major difference. I mean, there's a plethora of compare and contrast differences, but that's the main one, right? This is what have you done for me lately? What are you doing for me right now? And the product is ostensibly complete, but I can go a little bit longer here, so keep going.
Okay.
My phone didn't ring, so we're okay.
All righty. So as a former player agent, do you find it difficult now working kind of for the other side, or how do you perceive it differently?
Sometimes it's difficult if I'm, for example, you're negotiating against a former client, or some of the relationship-based issues that you might find, but any attorney would have that in some instances, right? You work for one client, and there's some conflicts of interest that are more prevalent here. But sometimes, it makes things a whole lot easier, because you know what the other side's thinking. You've been there, you've done that. So it's easy to have respect for their perspective and their side and the way that they think. So it's far more efficient, for example, in a negotiation. And it's also a lot easier to problem solve, because you do have respect for where they're coming from. And even if from the perspective of our side of the table, you may not agree with it, because I have to look at it through the Panthers lens, I can easily respect, even though I don't agree with it, I can respect why they think what they think. So sometimes it makes it easier. Let me give you an example that I use this all the time. If you and I are sitting outside, we're sitting outside Nationwide, and we're having a coffee in front of that Tim Hortons, and a little girl walks by with balloons on a sunny day, and you say, "Oh, what a beautiful sight! Oh, a little girl with balloons. Well, that should be a painting, a picture." And you look at me, don't you think? And I'm horrified. And you look, well, what's wrong with you? I said, where are her parents? So that which instilled calm and serene and beauty in your eyes put horror in mine. And yet we both sat and saw the same thing at the same time from the same place, two different perspectives, right? Mm-hmm. So that can happen in negotiations. It happens a lot with the players, coaches and players. So it helps to kind of understand where the other person's coming from.
To be able to see from kind of envision from both perspectives, I'm sure.
Yeah. And how many times is that wall put up, and the people are looking at, you're sitting there looking at guys, how can anybody have horror in their eyes looking at that picture? Well, if you never had kids, that's a hard thing to understand. Mm-hmm. But as a parent, how could anybody, right? Like you don't, so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. So when you, I guess, so how did, and we kind of talked about this briefly yesterday, but how do you, your philosophy of analytics with the organization? I know you had a way you were going to answer that, but how do you leverage analytics in your organization?
That's too broad a question.
So I guess, are there certain things that you're looking for in players, or is it more
Yes.
of a holistic fit? What are the types of things you're looking for, or what can you share? What are you not comfortable sharing?
I'm not going to share anything.
All right.
Okay.
That works that well. So I think that's and this is something that I think also the privacy and the way that we think about the competitive advantage, right? I mean, that's what you're kind of looking for. You want to kind of keep the information that you look for internally.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And it's not to be coy.
Yeah, no, I totally understand and respect that.
This is it's a tremendous endeavor, and something that we're very proud of, and we work very hard at, and the folks really are committed to. So
no, and that makes perfect sense. I know you wanted to talk kind of to that point, and I think it's there's a large community that's very open in the sports analytics community, but when it comes to information that is owned by the team, that competitive advantage is important to understand how that's leveraged across. I mean, every organization has their philosophy, and I think that's good to know how we maintain that information for that your own company, so to speak, with the team. And I think that's important to know.
Yeah.
You had talked, one thing that you had talked about when you're meshing the analytics, the business, the scout, the coaches, all those different sounds coming into your ears when it comes to making a decision. How do you, what is your philosophy in the integration there that we talked about briefly? Was how do you integrate that, and what is your philosophy with how you deal with the people to kind of balance them, to encourage them to speak their point, and what's your final decision at the end?
Well, it's very important, and I touched on it a little bit earlier,
Mhm.
that you empower people to feel very, very comfortable to express themselves and not be inhibited or encumbered because of what they weren't or what they didn't do or what experience they didn't have. If you feel something or you have ideas, express them, but be ready to back them up, right? And if you don't agree with somebody, so respectfully, right? Don't attack the person, attack the idea. Go ahead, have at it, come at them, right? And that's, we have these wonderful, just like I said earlier, we have great fights, we have great arguments, and on a respectful level, we had one meeting with our scouts and analytics people, and we were in there, and one of the analytics guys were arguing with one of the scouts, and someone came in, who was not real familiar with it, and made a comment to me. He said something about, are those guys brothers? I said, no, they're not. But I thought that was the best compliment that he could have paid us. That somehow the person took an affinity and respect between and among the two individuals fighting. They weren't fighting, that's the wrong word. Interacting, right? And they were going at it pretty good. So that's the, and it's not that often. I bring it up like it's this, it's I would say over 80% of the time, it's a real smooth transition based upon trust and respect. And trust is the big part of learning, right? And we're always learning from each other.
That's kind of the team culture.
But just empowering people to just come on, and pulling it out of people and getting people to feel comfortable to and excited to share and to be part of it.
No, that's great. I really like that thought. So as we kind of close things down here, what do you think your background as both a lawyer and an agent, does that differentiate you from the crowd of general managers or in the league, or is that a more common thing? And how does that help you in your job, that background?
It's more common than you think, probably. I mean, there's a lot of folks in hockey with a law degree.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly has helped me. It's helped the way I think. It's helped the way I prepare. It's helped day to day, very on many practical levels, right? You know, so the legal perspective or the legal training teaches you how to think one way. What about this? Have you thought about that? Have you considered your exposure, your liability? What are the options? One of the things we talk about is, you know, in the scouting world or even in the coaching world, well, what about, have you considered an alternative? Yeah. Have you considered all of the alternatives? Oh, well, no. Okay. Well, why don't you just keep, exhaust it until you're done and don't, lose sleep over it, but maybe there's more than one alternative. Things like that.
No, I think it everyone comes.
So
I make the joke when I hear from people about how did you get into this industry? And they're always, well, mine was a very unique path. Mine was everyone's path is unique, and it all makes us kind of unique in what that position is, and it's their own spin on it.
Yeah, it was a little easier for me at the time because when I started, you could start as an agent on your own and just say, I'm going off and doing it. Not sure you can do that. Look, anything's possible, but I think it would be difficult these days to actually do that.
So the last question I'll ask is the importance, like if you're looking at a player or someone for your organization, let's just say, if you're looking at the most important thing that you look for in player, a new person for the organization, what are you looking for from the holistic person?
Well, once you cross a certain threshold of physical abilities and skill and whatever, then character becomes paramount to us. Because for us, team is first, and teams win. You can look historically at our game, and individuals surrounded by character people win, but individuals can't do it in our game on their own. And that to us is paramount, and we're blessed here in Florida with wonderful character guys. So
all right, Bill. Well, thank you so much for taking some time with us today. I know it was a short brief, but I know it's tough. I appreciate you filling in that 20-minute break you have with us. It's been great. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day. We'll look forward to seeing your name on the cup soon.
Thank you. It's
All
very
right,
kind. All right. See ya. Bye.